Dr. Jim Richardson is an economist at Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge. Hey, Dr. Jim, welcome to KEEL. How are you today?
Thank you. How are you doing?
Well, Aaron and I had a little back and forth last week, and we've both been talking to local business people, and they are regaling us, if you will, with the amount of and number of different taxes they pay. Let's start with, you can explain to us the difference between the inventory tax and who pays that and who gets paid back what by the state or whomever, and a property tax that businesses pay for, like computers and desks and stuff. Maybe we're getting the names wrong. Walk us through that. Straighten us out.
Okay, well, I guess most states refer to the taxes on computers and equipment and on business, on furniture, and sometimes they also include inventories in there as tangible personal property. And what we do in Louisiana now, businesses will obviously pay on their tangible personal property. Inventories are separated out, and you pay taxes. You pay local taxes on inventories, but there is, or at least there was until 2015, a 100% tax credit at the state level. So in that sense, the businesses paid the local taxes, and then they ask for a credit on other taxes they might pay the state and get a refund on it from the state. Now, in 2015, they cut that credit at the state level down to 72% as opposed to 100%. So there was essentially it reduced what the state would pay the business back. And then lately they have made a new law, but this has nothing to do with tangible personal property in the sense of if a business gets industrial tax exemption, then they have to choose which one do they want, the industrial tax exemption or the inventory tax credit. And for big businesses, that's probably a no-brainer because the industrial tax exemption is very big. For smaller businesses, it's going to be a choice and they may not even get an industrial tax exemption at all. So I think that's the way it is. That's the complications of it. Essentially, inventories are taxed, yes, but they're paid back by the state partially.
I was talking to a friend of mine last week, and he is a small business owner, and I had no idea. And he says, "Yeah, I pay the state, well, the city and the state, a tax on the desks that I have, or the computers that I have, or the rugs on the floor." He said, basically, if it's not attached to the wall, I'm paying taxes on it. And I was thinking, is that for real? And then I thought that can't possibly be something that helps to market the state or Shreveport specifically to new businesses that might be thinking about coming here, right?
Well, the local governments will impose the tax on those tangible personal property, yes. The state does not do that, except the state does charge a sales tax and you buy them. So those are different taxes. You have a property tax, and then the city, and indeed Shreveport will probably have a sales tax on that when you buy that as well. So, I mean, there are different elements. And you look at it, in most states, they will, on a property tax by itself, most states will assess a property tax on such things as tangible personal property. That does occur. Now, the question is how much it is and things like that. And I think the reason the state created the inventory tax credit back in the 1990s was to find a way to avoid taxing inventories because that's a tax that's not very good from an economic development perspective. But we never did anything about the property tax might be on tangible personal property.
You've done a lot of work, Doc, on tax reform legislation. You served on task forces, etc. What do you see as the top priority for our state to create a more fair business climate for those who say that Texas is killing us on keeping and attracting businesses?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have a couple of things that would be great to have. First, I think the first element is just stability. So businesses that come here know very well what they're getting into. I think, and they don't believe it will change in a year or two. And I think this is where we're still fighting through that battle. So just stability would be a fantastic thing. I think the second, on the business side, I think we really need to take away certain taxes. Like we had suggested, the inventory tax should go away, but that's a local tax. So we suggested we'd have to phase it out over 10 years, but then somebody would have, if the local governments have to make that money up someplace else on other millages. So you're transferring a tax. I mean, and it's obviously controversial when you do that. I think the other element we said we really need to get on the issue of the corporate franchise tax, move that, kind of phase away from that tax entirely. And those are business taxes. The franchise tax, the inventory tax, those are just business taxes. That's all they are.
It's just a lot of damn taxes, Jim, aren't there?
It's complicated, yes, and it is. And that's why we suggested getting rid of those two taxes. And then also suggested getting down the corporate income tax from it's 8% now. We suggested getting that down to about 6%. But then taking away some of the exemptions businesses have, so it's not a revenue loss for the state. So changing tax policy is always very tricky because when you change it, you help somebody probably, for sure, but you also probably impose a little extra tax someplace else. And of course, that's where it gets the opposition then.
How do you fight the argument of if you make it more business friendly, and yes, it's going to cost money right now, but in the long run, you'll bring more companies in, so you'll make more money. Maybe it's a short-term bridge, something to get through. Is that part of the problem?
Well, I think element is obviously if you make a tax system friendly to business, the idea is you're going to bring people in. And I think obviously that's a long-term game you're playing, and the predictions are obviously a little bit tough to say, yeah, we know that's going to happen for sure. I think in the short term, though, you're pretty sure you're going to either lose the money or you're going to impose a tax someplace else. That is pretty sure. You can predict that and then people believe that. That's the real problem. The short-run predictions are pretty on the mark. The long-run predictions are not quite as precise. So you can appreciate why it's hard for legislators to say vote for something like that or to say, okay, I'm going to be behind it 100%. I think at the end we need to work over the business tax side, and I think there are other things you do for businesses as well besides just taxes. Taxes is one thing, but you'll have other things like you have your educational outcomes, you have your overall infrastructure issues. All of those things are part of the business equation as well. Plus, you just have this friendly atmosphere, or not overly regulated areas either. So there's a whole host of variables you have to deal with.
Do you think that things, to expand on my previous breathy comment, do you think that things the way they are via regulation and tax, and there's just so many of both, compared to other states, are we overregulated and overtaxed, and is that hurting us?
Well, I don't think we're overregulated compared to other states, no. I don't think that's the case at all. Oh, in terms of taxes, you look at our tax system here compared to other states, I don't think we're overtaxed. I think there are other issues that are important, too. Now, that doesn't mean I think we should raise business taxes, but I don't think compared to other states we are overtaxed as such. I think if you do find, though, we're probably, we have, on the property taxes, which is only a local tax, really. On the property taxes, we have reshaped it in such a way that we put a lot more of the burden of taxes on commercial businesses than we do on, say, homes or we do on industrial sites. So we've made that decision. That's a long-term decision. And what that means, some of the new businesses now coming in, for example, they would be businesses like information systems businesses, technology businesses. They're commercial. And there's a little heavier tax there, but we've done that primarily by saying we exempt people on industrial projects. We exempt some homeowners. So if there's going to be a tax for paying for local services such as education, it's going to fall on a certain group of people.